Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at the 10 fastest checkmates in chess. We'll start off with the fastest checkmate. It's called the Fool's Mate, and it is a checkmate that can happen in 2 moves. First, white plays this. Then with black you go here. And if white plays this would be mate. Because the king cannot move anywhere, it cannot move, and it cannot move here because it will be in check, and no pieces can block. But let's say they play like this would not be mate because they can block with the pawn. That is the fastest checkmate in chess with only 2 moves. It can also be with the white pieces, and it's called the reverse fool's mate, and it goes like this. Basically the same thing, but the opposite way, and it takes 2.5 or 3 moves. Same thing again. If black just plays like this, normally, then they have this pawn to block. But here, there's nothing to block. The king can't move. Mate in 2. Fastest mate in chess. Next is the checkmate in 4 moves, the scholar's mate. First, you go e4. They can do anything almost except like push this pawn or do something with this knight or like bring this knight here. So let's just say they play e5, you go here, and they decide to copy you. If you go queen here, and let's just say they develop this knight, you can then bring the queen up, and that's mate because the bishop protects, and so the king cannot take, and the king has nowhere to move. Black can also do this actually. You just go like this. And that's mate for black. Again, because the queen is protected, so the king cannot take, and the king can't move anywhere, so it's just mate. But your opponent has to not see all these moves, like they can't play like this. They can't play something like this to just block. Otherwise, your plan is kind of screwed. Otherwise, your plan is kind of screwed. That's why there's also the other type of scholar's mate, which is bishop here. They can just pretend to copy you, and you go here. Again, threatening mate. And if they go here to try and block you from mating them, you can take here and win their rook. It's not a mate, but you do win a full piece. Before, when they used to do this knight and our queen used to be here, then our attack would be blocked. But since our queen is over here, we can still go in and mate them. But there's also ways to block this with queen over here, or just, yeah. So those are the second fastest mates in chess, the scholar's mate. Next, we have something that goes like this, and is a mate in 5. So let's say they do this, and when you go here, it's called the Dutch defense, and you go here. And let's just say they decide to attack your bishop because it's not really doing anything, and you move back. Then they see that they can trap your bishop, and if you go back, they trap your bishop. Now your bishop is just lost on like the 4th move of the game, so you're obviously losing. So why is this a mate? Well, when they go here, you can actually sack your bishop. And if they decide to take, that's mate. Because again, no pawns are defending the king. And the king, again, cannot move anywhere. So that is another type of fool's mate. It's just a bit longer. And is more common. Next, we have a mating pattern for black in 6 moves. First, you play this move, f4, which is known as the bird's defense, bird's opening, and it's pretty common, though not that common. Then, if you go here, it looks like you're sacrificing the pawn, and you are. And then you do it again. And if they take, you can take with the bishop. And let's just say they do something like a normal development move like this. Then you can move your queen to h4, and you might think, how does that work? They can just push their pawn. And even if you go here, you don't win the piece. You lose your queen. So how does that work? Well, actually, you can sack the bishop, and that's mate. Or if you want to be even more fancy, you can sack the queen, and that's mate. Because again, no pawns are defending these squares, and the king can't go anywhere. So queen sacrifice can mate in 6 and is a mate in 6 white. So here's how it goes. You play e4, they play the Karo Khan. This is all very normal. And you go here. And then they take. This is all very normal. So then they decide to develop their knight here. Now you can move your queen here, trying to be very sneaky. And now you can move your queen here, trying to be very sneaky. And let's just say they go here to trade the knight. Well, that's mate. You see, the king can't go anywhere because this knight blocks it in. The pawn can't take because of the pin. So, and also you might think that if you take this knight, it's the same thing. This pawn can't take, but this knight can. And then it's just a fair exchange. So this is known as a smothered mate because the king is smothered. There's many ways to defend against this, and it's also kind of bad for white because you're blocking your own bishop. But it is a very cool baiting threat. For example, you could go like here, and then they don't have this anymore. So that's a mate in 6 for white from the Karo Khan, which is a pretty popular opening. So this next mate is a mate for black, and it's a mate in 7 moves. It's also a smothered mate. So it starts off very normal. It's actually the Italian game, which is very, very popular. And then instead of playing into a normal Italian, like bishop here or knight here, you actually go here, offering a trade. This is known as the Blackbird showing gambit because you're actually giving away a free pawn. So then you can see as they have the bishop and knight lined up attacking this pawn. So you move your queen to attack the knight in their pawn, which they'll then attack the rook. So they take because they don't want their knight to be taken, and your queen is attacked, so you have to take. Now their rook is attacked, so they'll move their rook, and this is actually a complete blunder because then you can take here, their king can't go anywhere, so their bishop has to retreat, and instead of taking over here with the king, the free knight, you can just deliver checkmate with the knight moving to f3, as the bishop cannot take since it's pinned and the king has nowhere to move. So this is known as the smothered mate. This next mate is a mate for black in 8 moves. So, and it's also starting off pretty common. So they have to play d4 first, and then instead of playing d5 like normal, you can actually play e5. And actually, if you run the eval, this is actually worse for black immediately, but there's a very nice trap. So let's say they take it. Then you attack the pawn with the knight because you want to win it back. So they go here with their knight, protecting and developing. Now you move your queen, putting even more pressure on this pawn. They do another very logical move, bishop here, developing and defending. But this is actually a blunder, as now you can move your queen here, not only attacking the bishop, but also checking the king. So now it's a 4. So the only way to save the bishop is to move it back, attack the queen. But now you're giving this up. So now they trap your rook. And let's say you move your bishop here, thinking they've trapped themselves. They can't take the rook, they can't take the bishop, they can't take the knight. They have to go back. Now you just want a pawn, and I also just want a pawn. But you actually have a very nice move. This pins the bishop to the king. If the bishop moves out of the other bishop's sight, then the king hangs. So you can't take the queen anymore. And let's just say, but now the bishop is also hanging. Now this bishop is actually hanging because 2 pieces are attacking it while only this knight is defending it. So you move your queen up here to add another defense. I take, If you take with this, I take your rook. So you take with your queen again. So you take with your queen again, protecting your rook. But now I have queen to c1, mating you. Checking your king. Now I have queen to c1, checking your king and mating you. Because there's no queen on d1 to protect the king. So yeah, those are some of the fastest mates in chess. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. See you next time.